Hi, Gary here again. This video is part 6 in the whole wooden wing building process and contains steps 6, 7, and 8. These are the pieces for the main spar. One is the shear web and the other two are the top and bottom webs. I made these little construction aids for the spar because the top and bottom webs are not parallel. The construction aids will hold the top and bottom in the correct orientation as they're being epoxied in place. They will be removed once the epoxy fully cures. This is the shear web about to get epoxied to the bottom web. Here the spar is complete. I used big heavy steel weights to hold everything down. You'll probably see them from time to time in the pictures and video. The steel fabrication tables have been made so that the tops are within less than 0.010 of an inch of being perfectly flat. So that really aids in keeping everything straight. So now it's on to step 7, which is to construct the wooden framework. Here the 3/4 end caps are being epoxied to the main spar. I'm using my little digital level to check and make sure that the trailing end of the end caps is perfectly parallel with the main spar. Now the leading edge is epoxied into place. The leading edge was made from a 1-inch dowel. Once again, I check the trailing edge and the leading against the spar to make sure everything is perfectly parallel. Here you can see some of the small steel weights that I talked about previously. They come in super handy for so many things. I love them. They're so awesome. The inner ribs were now fitted and epoxied with spacers to keep them at the correct spacing to accommodate the aluminum mounting brackets that will eventually be bolted to these ribs. Here I'm polishing up the aluminum brackets. I didn't polish the whole bracket, only the part that protrudes out the bottom of the wing. It's a bit of a tricky job. You have to watch out where your hands are and the angle of the piece with respect to the buffing wheel. As you can see coming up pretty soon here, I caught the edge more than once. Luckily it looks and sounds much worse than it actually is. But I have been known to have had large chunks of aluminum ripped out of my hands and go flying across the shop floor from time to time. So step 8 was to cut and shape the foam blocks. Here I'm preparing to use 2-inch foam blocks to fill in the space between the wood framework. Once the foam blocks have been cut to the basic shape, they were notched where they slide into the main spar. The part that slips into the spar is notched all the way around because there are reinforcing pieces of wood made from 1/4-inch quarter round, which is made from straight grain hemlock. These pieces then epoxied against the spar pieces. These act as gussets and reinforce the joints on the spar pieces. Unfortunately, it looks like I didn't get any good close-ups pictures of the gussets, but here you can more or less see how they work to reinforce the spar. Here I'm test fitting the forward foam blocks to make sure they fit tightly on both sides and slip snugly into the spar. And that's it for part 6 of the wooden wing making process. We'll catch you in the next one.